Good day, welcome. Today is March the 6th. You're welcome to the virtual program, the Zoom program of the Suburban Chicago Apple users. I'm your host, George Brooks, also Vice President of the Suburban Chicago Apple users. Today we have our President, Dave Ginsburg, talking about tech-savvy tips and tricks with screenshots on iOS. We have Kelly Guimont, talking about spring cleaning your devices. Please don't forget, join us for the Afterglow. Let me tell you a little bit about who we are. We're the Chicago Suburban Apple users. We are a group of approximately 100 Chicagoland and throughout the nation. We're going to expand worldly soon. Apple users who regularly meet to exchange best practices, tips, and offer help to each other about Apple technology and technology trends. We also make savvy use of our tech dollars. We share a good exchange of ideas and practices on how to do that. Knowing each other who share a passion about Apple technology. If you're not a member, we ask you to join us by online at myscau.org. Just want to let everyone know, please keep your microphone muted when you're not talking. If in the event that you have a question, please place the question into the chat. We will address you for your question in the chat by asking you to unmute your mic and actually ask your question. If in the event that you have a question that is not related to today's subject matter, please join us in the Afterglow after the meeting, where you can ask your question live. Today is, this month is March, is Women's History Month, where Apple and other organizations are actually honoring women. Apple's contribution by honoring women, there are different apps in the App Store, a collection of women collection apps. Additionally, there is a different music curated by female artists, books by women in history. And also there is a special badge, and I know everybody's going to work on that badge for the fitness in the fitness app later on this March. It's March the 8th. Don't forget, there's also different topics in Apple News. So that's how Apple is actually related to Women's History Month, and also different group listings in the Apple TV app celebrating Women's History Day. And also in the fitness app, Apple has a wide variety of things celebrating Women's Day and Women's History Month. So make sure that you check all those things out. You can find that at in apple.com/newsroom. There will also be, I will place the link in our community for those of you who are members, and those of you who are not. I just spoke about how to actually do that. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, who is our president, Dave Ginsburg. Dave has over 20 years experience as an IT professional. He is very knowledgeable about PCs as well as Mac devices and in his daily profession. He has become a subject matter expert in all things iOS. He has his own podcast called In Touch with iOS. We are fortunate to have Dave today to speak to us about tech-savvy tips and tricks with screenshots in iOS. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, George. Good morning, everybody. So glad to see everybody here. And we're going to talk a little bit about screenshots. I think it's probably a topic that isn't talked about too much because probably people don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But what I wanted to do, just kind of go through it and discuss some of the features of what screenshots have. But I also have this amazing app I want to also talk about that you're going to really enjoy, and that gives you some more flexibility utilizing screenshots as well as being able to capture text and other things. So let me go ahead, share my screen here, and we'll get started. All right. So the first place to go here is probably going to be here. This is a support article. Now I'm going to put the links that I talk about today in our community after this event, so you'll be able to go back and take a look at these things. So as everybody probably knows, I would hope at this point that they know how to take a screenshot on either your iPhone or your iPad. If you have a more recent iPhone model with Face ID, this here is the way to take it. These are the two places that you have to press in order to get a screenshot. So you push the volume up button and you push the side button at the same time, then it's going to initiate that. Now, this also shows the other models that are out there that many of you probably still have. With Touch ID, you have to tap the Touch ID button as well as the side button. And then those with the older ones that have the button on the top, you go to the top. So, and it's very similar with iPads. You have to do that with the volume and the power button to do that screenshot as well. So let me bring up my iPhone here, and everybody can see my iPhone okay? George, could you confirm that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Great. So of course, as I just showed you, the way to initiate a screenshot is going to be push the volume up button and the side button. In the case of my iPhone 12 Pro Max, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now everybody sees this little window here at the bottom, and that's the this window right here, and that is the place that takes the screenshot. Now you noticed it just disappeared, and the reason why I did that is because I didn't get to it in time. So now what ended up happening is when you go into your photos, fortunately, I don't think it's going to let me show me. Oh yeah, it does. There you go. When I go into my photos here, it now put that screenshot right into here. So that's the place that it stores it. But of course now it's just basically a screenshot of my actual screen. So not very exciting. So let's go ahead and do that again. I'm going to do a screenshot, and then I just again volume up and the side button, press it. So on the iPhone, I tap this now. Okay, so now this brings up a place where you can do all kinds of fun stuff with editing here. Here at the top here is if you're actually done with it, it gives you the option to just say done, and then you're ready to go. You can go revert back and forth if you take multiple screenshots because it will bring them up into here. You could trash it right away just by here. And then, of course, this is the share sheet to the place to share it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that in just a sec. Now, down here are all the tools. Now, you've got gradient tools, you've got highlighting tools, you have markup, eraser. So there's all kinds of great tools here that allow you to be able to make markups here. So let's say I want to go to the highlight. So if you notice here, I tapped it, it moved up. So then I take my finger, I'm going to go and do a circle around. So I want to highlight something, I want to point it out. If you notice that this actually went up here, I actually can tap that and then bring it back, or I can actually redo it. So undo, redo is available there as well. Also, what they've added is they've added these tools here. Now, if I wanted to be able to add a text, if I wanted to sign something, if I wanted to magnify something, change the opacity, you have that option. And this is some awesome tools that Apple has added to this. Let's tap the magnifier. So now what I can do is, if you notice here, see how it's highlighting a one spot on a screen shot here. So now if I want to highlight this battery, let's say, so now not only is the screenshot going to have this circle of highlighting something, it's also going to have a magnifier. So you also can go back, and if you wanted to add an arrow, I want to put an arrow here, I can pivot around the arrow, and you can change that opacity here if you wanted to, and curve it around, change the arrow like there. So now I've pointed that out. So lots of great flexibility here as far as being able to add different things. If I wanted to do a call out, you have that option. So very, very flexible when it comes to being able to add all these things in the screenshot. So now let's say we want to share this with somebody. So if I tap the share sheet here, that's the button at the top right here. It gives you options here. You can share it with people in your contacts. I actually could airdrop this right now if I wanted to somebody that's nearby, or as well as I could airdrop it to my iPad. So if I were to tap airdrop right now, it's going to pick up my wife and my Mac. I don't have my iPad here. I'll open at the moment. But a nice little feature here is being able to add this to a note. If you want to be able to add this to a note here, you can actually tap this, create a new note, and put some put information in here, and then tap save. And now that's put that into a note. So they've given a lot of great flexibility when it comes to these screenshots. Now, when I tap done, now you're going to have a couple options here. You're going to be able to save this to photos. That's usually the standard place you want to save this, but you also get the option to save it to files. So if you want to have it stored in iCloud Drive and have it in a place that you're looking to just store it in a location that's off the photos, you'd rather have it in file so it stays out of your photos, you could do that. In this case, let's go ahead and tap Save to Photos. So now if I go into Photos now here, I'm going to go into my albums. Now, the albums here are all laid out depending on what your albums are, but you also have a folder called Screenshots. I don't know where that is here. Let's see. There is a Screenshots folder here. Where is that? Oh, here we go.
Just passed it.
Yeah, here we go. Yes. So if you notice, I'm a crazy person here, and have an insane amount of screenshots here, as I'm sure many of you do here. I see Margaret smiling. She probably is the same as I am when it comes to doing that. So if you go into these screenshots, that's what's great about this. I like this a lot because it's an easy, quick way and a quick place to be able to jump in. So there's the screenshot I just did, and it gives you highlighting that last screenshot you did. But these are treated as photos too. So if you want to make them favorites, if you wanted to do anything like that, it gives you a lot of these options. But you see here all kinds of ways of being able to do a screenshot. And I'm telling you, it's the most flexible thing that Apple has ever added to this as far as that goes. Now, I've talked about this before as far as getting to a screenshot. You know, there is an accessibility feature that you can add if you wanted to be able to use it using that new feature in iOS 14 accessibility called Back Tap. You can actually go into the settings, and if you go into accessibility and go under touch, you go up to where the assistive touch is, and down here are the custom actions, as you see here. This is your single tap, your double tap, and a long press. So if you notice here, I've got the double tap set to screenshot right now. I can go in here, and of course, double tap gives you options to add other things too. So buyer beware when you do this, because I find that I had turned this on. I just turned this on today so I could show this to you. So it's very easy to engage screenshots. I've done it a lot of times. So I'm at the back of my phone right now. If anybody can see my camera, I double tap. And maybe I have to turn up assistive touch on. Hold on. We'll go to accessibility, touch. That has to be on. Yes. Oh no, that's assistive touch. I don't know why it's not working. Let's see. Try it again. Well, that's interesting. Well, trust me, it works. We'll take a demo, a demo here. So that's another option as far as setting it if you want to be able to have it beyond just the normal triggers. But I prefer to have the normal triggers that I'm familiar with when it comes to that. So, okay. Any questions so far, George? Am I asking questions?
No, but I have one. There's none in the chat. If you can go back when you were actually editing and there was that ruler that was in there, I never noticed that before. And it's like, what does that ruler do?
All right, let me go in here now. What that ruler does is it actually brings up this ruler here, and then you can take a line and you actually can draw a straight line on the bottom and the top. So it's like having a ruler if you want to be able to line the screenshot. So that's basically what that is. And you can turn the ruler in different positions too. So let's say if I wanted to do an underline here, right under one spot on the screenshot, that's what gives you a nice straight edge line to create to do that.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Sure. And all right, so now let's talk about this app. I've been super stoked to really talk about this with you guys. There's an app out there. It's called Live Scan. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. Of course, I'll put a link in the community along with others here. And what Live Scan is, it's an app that allows you to do a live scan of anything that's out there. But the most unique feature is the fact of you being able to take a screenshot, highlight text, and be able to copy paste it in one place. So this actually shows a photo here. I got this magazine open up here. I'm going to do it right now. So if you see on my screen here, I'm actually I got Mac Life magazine here, and I've got, sorry if my mic is far away here, Mac Life magazine off here, and there's a section in here I wanted to do a highlight of. So I'm going to actually take this as a picture in this app. It's called Live Scan. So now you see it's frozen out. So I'll watch. I'm going to tap and hold, and you see what it's doing? It's putting a box around the text, right? Look what happens. It's brought text into a box. Now this gives me the opportunity to send this to different places. Down at the bottom here, you can copy this. You can use the share sheet. This has a Google. We'll bring it out to Google to search for things. This also has a Google Translate built right here, or you can actually tap up here. There's an arrow up here that allows you to go in and choose a place that you want to send it. They've got DuckDuckGo included in here as a place, but one of the most powerful features I found was the fact that I can do the share sheet and tap it, and I can put it into a note right away. So here, as you see, it really does an amazing job of scanning the text and being able to give you that text very easily to copy it somewhere. Let's go back here, and I will also show you another thing that I had done. I thought this was, which was very valuable. Let me see. Okay, this was a receipt I had that someone sent me that I'm expecting a delivery. So what I wanted to do is I took a picture of this receipt. Now I can do the same thing. I could tap and scan. Let's see. Come on. It lets me do it. So there, that actually is the tracking number that was in there, and I can actually go up. Let me try this again. I don't know why it was giving me. There we go. So there's the tracking information. So now what I can do is I can go in and actually edit this. If I don't like what's in here, if it didn't do it all, I can actually backspace out of this. I can copy this to the clipboard. Now I can go out to the web. I can paste this and search it. It's going to bring me right to the USPS website, and I can look through and there it is. Very easy to be able to grab stuff right from photos, taking screenshots, all that stuff. It has control settings that you can go through and make changes to this. Languages, it'll actually go through and it'll understand different languages too if you need to do that. As well as you notice, it had Google Translate right built into the app. So I think this is a pretty amazing app here. Let me go to the site here. I've got it up, and this also works on the Mac. There is a Mac app for it, and the license that you get for it covers all of it. I had the bookmark here, but of course I closed it. Good for me. All right, let me open it up here. Everybody see that okay?
Yes, sir. By the way, just want to let you know, we are all loving the tip that you just showed us about the tracking number from the post office. We feel that was really the tip of the day so far, that really worth coming for.
Okay, great. Thank you. So here is the app. This is actually at the Mac App Store, because it does have a Mac version, iOS version, iPad OS version, and it is not free. So it does give you the opportunity to do it as a trial. It's a trial for 7 days, and if you decide to go with it, I think they have a very reasonable subscription fee here. And here's the pricing here. So you've got $9.99 lifetime access. Of course, that's what I did. So there's the pricing right there. So if you want to try it for a month, if you think you only need a month's worth, you can go for 99 cents. And they do have a yearly subscription, but I would, if you're in a yearly subscription, I might as well spend the extra $4 and you get access to this forever. So absolutely great, way to be able to do scanning and from your camera as well as photos. I absolutely adore this. I'm actually really loving this app. And as you notice, every single person that's done a rating so far has been a 5.0, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. I think it's just a great app. So, okay, any questions?
Not that I see here in the chat. We don't have any questions.
I do.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. We have one question. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hey, are you going to talk about the icon? I set it up in accessibility. I don't remember how, but you can have an icon on your screen. It's a little circle. I like that a lot, except it gets annoying sometimes. You have to keep moving it out of your way. But it avoids the double click problem.
I can. Yes. I had. You probably saw that when I turned on assistive touch. Let me bring my phone back up here. Lost connection here. Hold on. Give me a moment. Becky, you're probably talking about this button right here, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what this is, this helps from. This was made for those having challenges with the buttons and the Face ID. So what this does is it brings up a button here so you can get to things without having to go into different locations. So if you notice when I tapped it, it does hover right here, but you can move it. So it does allow you to move it around. See how I'm tapping and moving this around, so you could put it wherever you'd like. If you tap this button, it gives you access to the notification center. You can customize this into the Siri and bring you back home. You can go into the device, and then there's some of the other expanded settings in there for assistive touch. So yeah, it's nice, but I agree with you, Becky. It does tend to get into the way, but you can't, like I say, you can move it anywhere on the screen. So if it's odd to get it out of your way, so you don't tap it by mistake. Okay. Any other questions? How much more time do I have?
Let's see, you have about like 10 minutes.
All right, great. So Frank asked about this, and Margaret is also using this service. So I figure why not? Let's talk about it. There is a company that's called, and it's kind of the weirdest name. It's called Reincubate, and this is the website here. And they make an app called Camo. And what Camo does is allows you to use your iPhone as a webcam. And I'm doing that right now. I have the luxury of having a second iPhone, so I'm using my 10R as you're seeing me. But you can use any iPhone, and Margaret can test it. You just said it. You pulled the 5S out of your drawer, and the camera quality is just it's incredible. Doesn't matter what iPhone it is, because the camera has always been a great device on here. So the way you do this is you download an app on your Mac. I'll show the app here in just a second, and then you download a app onto your iPhone. This also works with the iPad too. So if you wanted to use your iPad as a camera, you can as well. It might be a little hard. With me, I've got it. I've got it where I have it on a stand here. Let me see if I have my phone still up here. I can show you what it looks like by using the camera here. This is kind of setup I have. I'm using this stand as and I have my iPhone held into this clip here. Actually, I'll talk about this clip real quick. This is a new clip I just got. This is actually a metal clip, and if you notice this here, it actually unlock and lock, and you can actually turn it and position it. I'll show that in a second. It was really cheap. This was like $22 for a clip. But for those of you who like to use their iPhone as a camera like that, or even putting it on a tripod if you're doing it, that's a great thing too. So, but anyway, let's go back. I'm sorry, go off tangent there. So this does give you the capabilities of using this for video calls, and it's really a really sharp app here, and you're going to see my face here. I was really close by here. I'm sure Margaret did seem the same thing, because I don't know you were doing this as well. But if you notice this here, these are some of the settings that you can change. Now, if I had my iPhone 12 Pro Max in here, I would be able to actually bring this down, and it would show every single lens. There's 3 different lenses, so I actually can switch from between from the selfie camera to the rear facing camera. You want to use the rear facing camera because obviously that's the best quality camera that's on the iPhone. So, but it does give you a lot of other flexibility. Like I can change resolution. I've got it at 1080p, so I'm giving you the best quality, and you can see. Oh my God, people are looking at my face here like, hey. So then you get all the resolution changes here. You can also incorporate audio. So you have that here. You can also put watermarks in here too. If I want to have a watermark, like sometimes someone wants to put maybe their logo or something in place on the camera view, you could add that. You've got flexibility with zoom. And then over here on the right-hand side, you've got light adjustments for exposure, white balance, flash level, all this stuff. So they do have a free this is a free version, and it is limited. You're not going to have a lot of these flexibilities as far as access to this, but they also have. Let me see if the pricing. I went ahead and decided that, you know what, I really love this program, so I went ahead and they have a lifetime. They just added this lifetime subscription not too long ago. It's $79.99. So now I have a lifetime subscription to this. They had like a $39.99 a year if you wanted to do a yearly service. So that was the pricing in here as well. And lots of other things. And this works also not only with Mac OS and iOS. For those of you who still have who have PCs, I know they're beta testing out right now, and I believe you can also have this as part of your Windows machine if you had to as well. So, check it out. I'll put this link in the community, and here's the information here as far as their cost. This is actually a company out of Britain, believe it or not. Here are the costs here. So yeah, so you actually can get a 1-month subscription if you wanted to. Maybe you wanted to try it for a month. It's only $4.99. And this is up to 2 computers, so you can have it installed on 2 separate computers at once. So I've got it installed on my M1 Mac Mini as well as on my MacBook Pro, and I think it's a great thing. It's really worked out well. The downfalls to it, of course, are going to be, for me, luckily I have a second iPhone I can use as a camera, especially I do a lot of demos with my iPhone, so I can't, I really don't want to tie up my iPhone as a webcam. So that's only going to be the only downfall to it. But if you're someone who is just having a meeting and you don't need to have your iPhone in your hand, or if you have an iPad, you could also utilize that if you so wish. You could do that too. So as well. So, all right. How much do I have? About 5 minutes left?
Actually, I misquoted your time, so you got about 10 more minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
But let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That
I'll open up to questions.
Yeah, that program is actually in the Mac App Store, correct? The Mac.
It is.
It is? Okay. So for those of you who are actually, with it being in the Mac App Store, don't forget, you can get a discount off this program, because for those of you who are Costco or Sam's Club or even Target or other places, remember, you can go and buy the iTunes gift cards and get them at a discounted rate and get the price of this program down.
Actually, I apologize. No, it is not in the Mac App Store.
Oh, it isn't? Oh.
Let me go back and check. That icon was misleading. It's download for my Mac OS. It brings you to their download. Yeah. So no,
okay.
It is not.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well,
they have an app they do have an app in the iOS store, but that's would be considered free. You have to pay.
Yeah, that's okay.
And we know that whole controversy about subscription services and having to pay Apple 30%. So that's the reason why they're not doing it.
Well, we know about that, but we'll just leave that alone.
Any other questions of what I've talked about so far?
There was a question about, please repeat the brand name for the iPhone tripod clip. By the way, yeah. you're gonna put that in the community also?
I am, yes.
Okay.
All right. Let me find that. I'm going to stop sharing a second here, if you don't mind. Bring this up. I'll talk about that a little further. So to give, wrong one. Bear with me here. All right, here we go. Go back, share again here. Thank you. There we go. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is kind of a interesting device, and it's got an interesting name too. Woo-Ho-Tu, I think it is. Woo-Ho-Tu. It is a metal tripod mount, what they call a cold shoe, so you can actually mount other lights on here. So here's, I think they had some pictures in here of applications here. There was somebody who was showing up with that. So you really could turn this into a big rig here if you wanted to, with mounts and lights and all kinds of fun stuff on top of your iPhone as a clip. So there's a clip at the top of the at the top here, as you see, that gives you the option to be able to be very flexible with it. Now, this locking mechanism here, it locks and unlocks. It's a clamped lock, and it's really, really solid. And you notice here also it has other 1/4-inch screws where you could add other accessories here. They put a cushion at the bottom. And I have it mounted down here at the very bottom to mount it to this is actually a selfie stick that I use with a tripod. Yeah, for $22.99, not a bad little deal. And there's another detail how you can really get creative with the rigs with this clip too. So, okay.
Okay, I don't.
And
see
then
more.
I will talk about another product. I actually just received this product as a review unit for this product, and it's called the Go Donut. This is it here. I have the purple one that's on my camera here, but I'm showing the website here. And as you can see, what this does is it gives you a take anywhere tablet stand, and it's flexible, so it can be used with anything. It doesn't matter if it's a iPhone, iPad, it could be Android, it could be any tablet, it could be a Windows tablet, could be a anything. And I found this to be a pretty interesting device. And this is the original. It's actually a very, very hard, durable material that I don't know if anybody can see on my camera here. I'm holding on it, and it's really solid. It looks really well. It actually, as you can see here, it gives different angles that you can change between any of these devices here. As they say, it's compatible with most devices. This is actually a great application. You can see people are recording. You can have your recipes. So they're showing as this video. So I thought this was a kind of a cool product. This one is the Go Donut 360. So that as you see here, they've got a base here that allows you to be able to have it as a swivel 360 base. It comes apart. In fact, let me stop my sharing a little quick, and I'll show you on camera here. Hopefully my thing doesn't fade out, but this is the base. You'll probably get with my background here, but this is the base and this is the ring. They mount together on here, and it spins. Now they also have a clip. They also have a clip that you could add to the spinner here. That's this clip here that can stop it from moving. If you don't want it to move, you just put this clip in place, and then it stays solid. So kind of a cool little gadget. The donut itself, if you bought it without the 360, is $24.99, and with the swivel stand is $29.99. Pretty nifty little device. I was pretty impressed with this.
I agree. It is a pretty nifty device. I hope they make that out of recycled plastic, because when you think about it, that is a good idea of what to do with all those water bottles.
Yeah. One more thing I'll talk about. I actually did this review on my podcast. I know, so if you've heard this before, I apologize for the repetitiveness, but I would rather wanted to mention it as well. Let me share again here. I'll bring it up on my screen. This is a service called Pod Swap, and here it is here. And what this is bringing new life to your AirPods. So I had a pair of AirPods, which I have them on camera here. This is the AirPods, the first generation AirPods, which I cannot believe are almost 5 years old now. These came out in 2016. Wow. So of course the batteries were dead. They were dying. I mean, I'd be lucky if I got an hour out of them. I'm like, I'd set them aside. As everybody sees, I'm wearing the AirPods Pro now. But it's always good to have a backup pair, or if someone who has an AirPods that you grab it. These guys I was very impressed the fact that they figured out how to remove and replace the battery. So what they do is you pick your swap. Right now, they're only doing the first generation AirPods, but they're going to do the second generation AirPods very soon. They'll advance send you a new set. Now, I know people are probably wondering, where are these and what are these? They are actually, what they're doing is, here's their story. They're actually, it's like a recycle plan. What they do is they completely cleanse, they completely clean any of these AirPods. People send them their AirPods. So I sent them mine. They sent me a new pair. Their actual Apple product. And all they did was they refurbished them. They went through a complete cleansing process. They ionize and all that stuff. They assure that that's the case. So you're not going to get a dirty pair of AirPods. And you just basically put them back into the case, sync the new set, and then you got a new pair. And this is a good for recycling, because now what's happening is you're sending them a pair. They're gonna take in my pair. They're gonna complete cleanse and clean, and then now they're gonna send them to somebody else with brand new batteries in them. So I thought it was pretty cool here that they did this. In fact, I even made their press list here, because I talked about them, and they were very happy about my review of it. So this is definitely an interesting business model. I would like to see these folks are the two gals that started this business up, and they're all based out of Miami. So check this out. I think it's a great. So if you go to shop here, let's go actually in shop here real quick. So there's the choices. You can actually buy a full 2-set pair for $59.99, and then plus tax and inexpensive shipping. It cost me about $64 total. And then they ship that set to me, and then once I receive them, they give you 5 days to put it in a prepaid packaged box. It comes in a neat little box, and they give you little labels, all that kind of stuff, and then you ship it back to them. It's all set. Now, they had other people ask, like maybe only one of the two AirPods is having a battery problem. You can buy just a one for a set. That is a little more expensive, so you're almost better off. You might as well just buy a whole new pair, because that's the case. And if you go to Apple and do this, it's even more money. It's a lot more expensive if you were to go directly through Apple. They still do that. And then, of course, they kind of fun. They sell an accessory case here. The one kind of downfall to it is if your case battery is not doing so good, and which in this case, this battery probably is not the greatest, and it's 4 years old, then they're not replacing the cases. You would have to buy a new case, and at that point, you're probably better off buying the new set. But it doesn't really matter, because as long as it charges, it's going to be fine, because you have a fresh set of AirPods with fresh new batteries that are going to last you a few years. And thought it was a great little service. So I would check that out. It's thepodswap.com.
Thank you for that. And I'm sure you'll put that link in the community. That's a very good idea. And one thing we also look at is again, keeping things out of the landfill.
Exactly.
And by the way, when you did that service, did you notice, because you said before you were getting about one hour of battery life. So
yep.
the battery life went back to the original
2 to 3. I got 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, depending on how heavy use you'd use it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot better.
Well, the one thing you also look at, I'm sure in time, they'll be able to figure out a way to increase the battery life. So this could become a really good service, because the way how battery technology goes. So I'm sure in the future.
And as I said, they're right now they're only doing the first generation AirPods. They're also they're very shortly they'll be doing the second generation AirPods, and they are going to consider doing the AirPods Pro. I think it's still too new with the AirPods Pro, because those only came out within the last year or two, that they're probably looking at it a little closer before they do that. But they will, as it says here in these FAQs here, they're working on it. They don't offer any service, but you can get on their list and they'll let you know. And then again, like I said, people ask, the ones you received are recycled. So they could have some imperfections, but they clean them up as best they can as far as that goes. But for sure, they're going through a full cleansing process. You don't have to worry about that. And yeah, I think it's a great service.
I definitely do. I definitely agree with you. And you also, of course, with it being Women's History Month, it's a women-owned business and a U.S.-based business. So all definitely good things there. Okay, Dave, I've taken that you're done at this time, right?
I believe so. I don't see Kelly. Is Kelly here?
Yeah, Kelly is here.
Okay,
we do. I just wanted to make sure that you were actually finished. You got a little.
I'm sorry. I appreciate. I didn't close out. I got sidetracked. But yes, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed that presentation about screenshots. If you have any questions, of course, use our community. I want to see more activity in our community, because that's what we have it there for, to ask questions and be able to get answers for things. And I thank you for your time. And let's. I'm looking forward to hearing what Kelly tells us.
Thank you again, Dave. Look forward to seeing those that information in the chat. And at this time, I'll go ahead and introduce our next speaker, which is Kelly Guimont. Kelly is a longtime Apple geek. She sat down on a telephone looking for Apple IIe back in 1983. I know what you mean, Kelly. I didn't sit on a telephone book, but I had an Apple IIe. She had it tricked out with an image writer printer, and she had just about everything you could put on an Apple IIe. I know what you mean, Kelly. She would just line jobs in Wozniak's pockets, buying up everything. Kelly is a passionate Mac support and IT professional. After a hard-working day, she plays with collecting non-whining, aluminum foil yogurt lids. You're gonna have to tell us about that in the Afterglow. And she is a current regular host on the Mac Observer's Daily podcast, and as well as other podcasts around the world, of course. And at this time, we're going to introduce Kelly Guimont to talk to us about spring cleaning your devices. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, everybody. So I want to say I don't want this to be a lecture. So if you have a question, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat. Go ahead and drop it in the chat or just unmute and give me a shout. Becky's coming at me with the cleaner. I can see already. Well, I said it's spring cleaning. That's just,
I'm getting, that's cat discipline.
So I do kind of want people to play along because I know like right now, everybody's on some device. And so if you get a chance to follow along, step through it with me and let's see some of the places we can save some space and update some stuff as we're doing this. So if I do something and I went a little too fast or you want to make sure I repeat it, you can drop something in the chat and if I'm on a roll, feel free to interrupt me because I want to make sure like I'm giving this information to all of you and I want to make sure that everybody gets it. So feel free like to totally make it a conversation. I'm absolutely happy with that. I know the Afterglow is going to be awesome. I have like 100 questions for David about all the stuff that he just talked about. So I want to like, I'm trying to claim all the Afterglow time for myself to go, David, tell me again about that clip. Tell me about this. What was that? Like, how do you use that thing? Let's talk about the donut. So, I just want to, so absolutely, if you have questions or anything, feel free, like I said, to interrupt. The first thing I want to talk about, like I said, spring cleaning. And part of spring cleaning is sometimes, purging and getting rid of things. Sometimes it's a little bit of maintenance just to make sure that everything's in the best condition it can be in. And sometimes it's just a little bit of cleanup, literally dusting something off or making space available, so that they're, for the new thing, whatever the new thing might be. The first thing I want to do is kind of show of hands. Does everyone have a time machine backup happening in some fashion right now? That's really important. Okay. How many people, I can't see everybody, but I can see a lot of people now. How many people are backing up, whether it's with time machine or not, to more than one drive at a time? Okay, I got some hands, so that's awesome. Time machine, part of the reason I like to start with time machine is because time machine has a very easy way to back up to multiple disks, and it's good to have more than one backup. There are lots of other options. You can carbon copy cloner or other kinds of things. Marcia would like to ask me a question. I don't know where Marcia went. Go ahead and unmute.
The question
Marcia.
I thought you asked to raise hands to show who was using time machine.
Oh, yes, but I just meant like on camera. I forgot that Zoom actually had a raise hand feature.
Okay, sorry.
So, no problem at all. I will lower your hand in Zoom though. Yeah, I just meant like this so I could see kind of who was doing what. So I think like as long as you're using something at all, like that's better than nothing. It's nice to have two different backups. Generally, an easy way to do this is to have one that's local and then have one that's remote. So you can use Time Machine to back up to more than one drive at a time. So like I have a local backup, like one that's connected right to the side of my computer through a dock. So I use an external hard drive for that. And then I have a network storage device that sits behind me in that closet back there. And I use that for the other drive. Backblaze and I don't think Carbonite does personal backups anymore, but Backblaze is a good way. I use Backblaze for my remote backup. So the great thing about all of them is it's very low key. It happens in the background. The whole point of it is to only use the part of your computer that you're sort of not using, so that if you're trying to do stuff, it's sort of a lower priority process. And then if you're not on your computer, then it will use more of your processor and your bandwidth to do what it needs to do. But it keeps everything up to date for you quietly in the background, and just kind of check on it once in a while. Another nice thing to do, if possible, is restore a file once in a while from one of those backups. Even if you don't need to, just test it, so that if something does happen and you get to the point where you need this backup, you need to know how to do it, you need to know how long it takes, and you need to know what the process, like what kind of process that looks like. Because if you try it with Backblaze and maybe it's a huge pain in the neck for you for whatever reason, then maybe that's not the right solution for you. Maybe the solution for you is to have a network attached, like I do in the closet behind me, have a network attached time machine backup, and then you swap that drive out. This used to be a lot easier a year ago to take the drive out and go take it to someone else's house and swap with another drive that they have, and then bring that drive home and put it in. And now you back up to that one for a while, and then, you know, rotate those through. It's really nice to have those as an option. So just making sure that you have backups, and making sure that those backups work. As an IT person, as a tech support person, I've seen more than one person try to restore from that time machine backup they've been doing forever, and the backup's corrupted. And so the thing that they've been relying on all this time didn't actually work. And I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let you know this is a thing that happens, and it can be bad when it doesn't work, because, you know, your files are gone. Carbon Copy Cloner is another way to do this. I literally have a calendar reminder set. I think it's the first Saturday of every month, to make sure that I have a Carbon Copy Cloner duplicate of my hard drive. I know that's harder now, and we can get into the Catalina Big Sur write-only system drive and all of that, but I make sure that I have all of my data duplicated out to a different volume. And so it's literally like I just have a second computer somewhere sitting, like all of my files, all my MP3s, all my documents, all my videos, all the podcasts I edit, everything is just sitting on this other drive hanging out. So it's good to do that sometimes as well if you have that capacity / patience. That's one that you kind of have to set and forget, like set that up and then go take a long lunch, or, you know, it's weekend, like go to brunch if there's brunch places available to you now, and then come back, you know, in a couple of hours and have it all finished up. That's another thing that makes it very useful to do. So is there anybody who's not backing anything up right now?
Shame on you.
Well, the reason I ask is because perhaps this might be a motivating factor. I used to do hard drive technical support for a company, and one of the statistics that they always gave us was that at that point anyway, 25% of computer users back up their data in any fashion, and more than 50% of users will experience data loss. And this also goes for your phone, which is a computer. This goes for your iPad, which is a computer. If somebody walked up to you and grabbed your phone and walked away with it and dropped it in a blender or something, those guys are still around, right? Will it blend?
Yeah.
If somebody, like if you walked outside this afternoon and your phone is struck by lightning and you have to replace your phone, how much data are you actually losing? And people go, oh, like I can reinstall my apps. Well, yeah, you can, but what about all the pictures of the kids or the grandkids or the nieces and nephews or the family stuff? Like all those photos from the before times when we all got together in the same place, like what's going to happen to those pictures? And that's the thing that always makes people go, oh yeah, what about that? Because, you know, as long as you don't have thousands of screenshots like David does, and what you have is pictures of people, then it might be more important that you want to make sure those get backed up. One of the easiest ways
Excuse me,
to do.
Kelly, for a second.
George.
We have a question in the chat actually asking, what do you think of Backblaze as an offsite backup?
Backblaze is great. Hey, Frank.
How you doing?
Hey, Backblaze is a fine option. It's $5 a month, and I still don't think they have a data cap. So you have it's like I said, it's very easy. I have it installed. The first initial backup of all of your data, and it can be external hard drive. So if you have an external hard drive, you can plug that into your computer, and Backblaze will take that too if you tell it to. And you can make sure that those external drives are all backed up, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Is now that you've got all your computers on a backup plan, make sure that you've got your mobile devices on a backup plan, and then because those are computers too. And then make sure that if you have external storage, or you have network attached storage, things like that, you will want to make sure that those are getting backed up as well, because if one of those hard drives goes bad and you're out all of that data that you thought was there that you could store forever, that may not be the case. So it's hard to find an app, at least I've not found one that's really good at recovering a corrupted backup. I have a couple of options for a corrupted hard drive. As long as it's not physical damage, even with physical damage, sometimes you can scrape some of that off. But as far as corrupted backups, I haven't seen a lot that can really do that. Now, sometimes what you can do is restore portions of it. Like maybe the Time Machine backup is corrupted, but maybe your documents folder isn't. And if you just go into Time Machine, you can pull out just your documents folder, or just your preferences folder, so that you don't have to relicense all your software and things like that. So sometimes there's a way that you can restore a portion of a Time Machine backup, even if the full thing doesn't work. Sometimes that's an option. And yes, with Time Machine and iCloud, you would have two backups of your data. If you're using iCloud for backup, you are probably paying Apple a lot of money to do that. So if you're not paying Apple a lot of money for iCloud storage, you're not actually backing up. You are syncing some of your data there, like sort of a set of bookmarks of these are all the apps I have installed, but you're not backing up the apps themselves, things like that. So particularly for mobile devices, what I personally use is iMazing. They're not a sponsor. I just like them. And part of the reason I just like them is because I can plug in my phone or my iPad, and I can manage it as hard as I want to. And to me, that's important, because I go big with data I go big with data storage. So you can have like my husband went on an extended hike. He hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. And so I had a state in time backup of exactly what his phone looked like before he went on the trail. And then he could restore to that at any point. And then once I had that backup, we took that phone, stripped it down to just what he wanted for his trip. So he wanted his GPS app, some of the maps that go along with that app, which take up a fair amount of space. He wanted room to store photos, because he was using that as his primary camera, and he wanted a couple of the other apps that he was using for tracking some of the data that he was using on his hike. And so we took all the other stuff off and put those things on. And then when he got home, we were able to plug his phone in and go, this backup from before you left, here you go. And now his phone is back at what it was before he hit the trail. So that makes it a very easy thing to do. You can also back up specific things using iMazing that you cannot back up otherwise, like voicemail messages. If you have voicemail messages from people that you want to preserve, you can do that using iMazing. And I have yet to find a way natively that Apple makes that happen through iOS. There's not an easy way to sort of save those out. And there is an easy way to save those out with iMazing. And it just sort of treats your phone like a giant hard drive, and it shows you kind of all the stuff on it, and you can sync things back and forth. So if you have a lot of documents that you want to make sure get moved to your computer, you use David's live scan app and you've scanned a bunch of documents, and now you want to make sure that they're all on your computer, you can transfer them easily. If you have things that you want to make sure you're carrying around with you in your pocket, You can scoop them off your computer and set that folder as one that syncs, and then those documents will show up on your phone or on your iPad. And it makes it very easy for those things to happen. So that's the rest of what I like about iMazing, is it just turns it into a very easy way to make sure that all the data, that you have the data that you want on your phone, and it's a very easy way to do it. So having good backups of everything. And then of course, let me interrupt myself. Once you do that, and you've got that backups hanging out on your hard drive, now you've got Time Machine running. And so now you have a backup of that backup. And so all of that data is now backed up in a second location. If you're using Time Machine or Backblaze or Carbon Copy Cloner, like all of those backups are part of that backup set from your computer. So that's another reason that it's nice to do it yourself. And I know it's plugging your phone into your computer with a cable like a caveman, but the first time something bad happens to your phone and you have to hand it over to the Apple store and they go, "Are you backed up?" and you get that deer in headlights look in your face. And you can watch this happen. Like, now that the Apple stores are open again, if you want to go to an Apple store, you can watch them say to the person, "Do you have a backup of your data?" and watch that person go, and yeah, it's not great. So don't be that person, and just be able to go, "Yes, I have a backup of everything. Here's my phone." That makes it a lot easier to do. I don't think Time Machine is not something that tends to be corrupted, but I have seen it happen. I'm not going to say it's common. I'm not going to say it's even often, but I've seen it. Now, I'm also going to point out I've been in technology for a really long time. George read I sat on a phone book in front of an Apple IIe. I've seen some stuff, y'all. I've seen some stuff. So I've seen like every way a Time Machine backup can fail, and there are a number of ways that it can. Most of the time it does not, but I have seen it happen. So that's why.
Yeah, you know what, Kelly? That brings up another question. Have you ever heard of anybody's Backblaze backup failing? Because we all put our trust into these services, like the online services. But I really wonder. I've never heard of one. Have you?
I have not. What I have heard of is maybe it didn't get added to login items properly. You rebooted your machine and now it doesn't come up at launch. And so if it doesn't pop up when you log in and it's not backing up, I have seen it. I have occasionally seen like the app hasn't been running for a while, and so your backup is not as recent as you thought it was. Mm-hmm. I've seen things like that. So that is a thing that I've sort of made part of my checklist. Like when I do the Carbon Copy Cloner and stuff like that, check the Backblaze icon in the menu bar, make sure it's running, make sure everything's humming along there. And just sort of check what those are. And you can do that with Time Machine as well, especially if you have multiple backup volumes in Time Machine. First of all, Time Machine used to be really, really terrible about what it would back up to. It was super picky. And then they, there were only certain drives you could back up to, and that got better. And now it's just sort of whatever you want and as many as you want to. So that's what makes it great, is because then it'll just go, okay, is this drive available? I'm going to back up to the top one on the list. Okay, that one has a backup from the last 24 hours. Now I'm going to back up to the next one. And so it will just rotate through however many you have listed there. It will just walk through all of them. Ed would like to know if you can restore an entire iPhone or iPad from iCloud backup. And the answer is sort of. Those backups are encrypted, but there are certain things that don't make it to the backup. So I believe you will have to enter all your Wi-Fi passwords because it's not a local backup. If you don't encrypt that backup, it will save no data. So all your health data gets obliterated. All of your passwords get obliterated. Every one of those Wi-Fi network passwords, I know everybody only needs the one for their house now, but when we can go places again, you're going to have to enter all those Wi-Fi passwords over again. And there's another thing that I'm not remembering that I know doesn't get backed up. It's just sort of a particular sync. And then the catch to restoring from that iCloud backup is, like I said, all of the apps that you have installed, all of those apps, it's not the app that gets backed up. It's like a little bookmark that says, this is the app. So if you are using the previous version of that app because there's something in the new one you don't like, you're out of luck because it automatically downloads the latest version of all of those. So if you're somebody who is paying close attention and the new version is terrible, it's the wrong shade of blue, it crashes all the time, It took away the functionality that I bought the app for. And so I'm sort of clinging to this older version, and you go restore from backup. Congratulations, you're on the new version of the app, and whatever your objection was to it, this is your life now. And that's the problem. And that's one of the issues of it. It's really just a matter of control. So yes, you can more or less restore an iPhone or an iPad from backup, but you also need to make sure that that backup works. I've seen that one go bad too. iCloud backups. Like I said, I've seen stuff, everybody. I've seen some stuff.
Question.
Yes.
Yes. If you back up to the phone instead of the cloud, okay, you plug it in and it asks you if you want to use this in Tunes or whatever iTunes is now. Okay, it back it up. Does that same methodology in a restore from the computer give you the new stuff that's coming down from the App Store?
No, if you configure it that way. There are options for backup if you just plug in and click on it in the sidebar, if you have Catalina. Because they finally eliminated the backup function in iTunes, and that's why it turned into just music as the music player app.
Right.
So if you plug your phone into your computer under Catalina, and we can all play along if you want to play along. If you plug your phone into your computer and you have Catalina or Big Sur, you're just going to see your phone pop up in the sidebar, like if it was a thumb drive or something. And when you click on your phone, then it gives you the thing that looks like iTunes used to, where you have the options for like how to back it up. Do you want to encrypt that, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you do the encrypted backup, all of your passwords get stored as part of that backup, but it has to be encrypted in order to keep your passwords, whether it's Wi-Fi or application passwords, like your iCloud keychain passwords and stuff. All of those get stored and can be restored to your device. And then health data and there's one more thing that you get automatically as part of using that backup. Okay. So those are the ones that you want to make. Like if you are a person like me and you wear your watch and you sort of live your life according to the activity rings, you really want to make sure that data is preserved. And so you want to encrypt that backup and you want to be able to restore from it easily.
Yeah. Well, the urge to exercise.
If you have a drawer phone, if you got a new phone last fall and like the previous phone went in the drawer or something, you can try restoring that backup to the new device, to the older device, and see what you get and see how it operates. Because even if you don't have like a SIM card in it or you don't have a plan on it, that doesn't matter, because it will still work like an iPod Touch, and it'll be on Wi-Fi, and you can see if the apps will launch and if it's connected to Wi-Fi, and will it get your mail and that kind of stuff, and see how all of that works when you restore that backup and see where the holes are in what you're using. So that's a reason to keep the drawer phone. Like I know I talked earlier about purging stuff, and when we purge stuff, I know it feels good to kind of get rid of some of that old technology, but it's kind of nice to have a drawer phone in case. So that would be another thing to talk about. So I think we're good on backups for now. It's really just sort of take a minute and assess would be, the thing to do. Do you have at least one functioning Mac backup? Do you have at least one functioning iOS backup? Whatever that means for you. Maybe you just have a phone, maybe you have a phone and an iPad, maybe you have several of each, some mixture of them. That's sit down and make sure that you have the backup that you need for your situation. It might be different for everybody. Not everybody has to have the backup situation I do. That you don't need a backup. So hard to come up and running again if something happens to all of your data.
Exactly. It's just like insurance. You're glad to, it's one of those things you hate to pay for. Have it.
And except for Backblaze, like Backblaze is a yearly subscription. I think it's $60 a year, so it's $5 a month for that peace of mind. If you're paying for iCloud storage, it's whatever that costs, depending on how you sort that out. And then iMazing is a $30 app. One time. It's not a subscription, it's a one-shot purchase. $30. But backing up to your phone is free. Time Machine is free. If you want to verify, like I said before, if you want to verify that your backups are working, one of the things that you can do to do that is for iOS, take the old phone and plug it in. Make sure it runs the same. It will run the same operating system that you've got on your phone now. So make sure it's an iOS 14 device, and plug that into your computer, and it'll go, hi, what do you want to do with this phone? Like, I don't know what to do with it. And you can say, restore it from backup, and then see what you get on that device when you do it. You can also, you can verify the important parts of Time Machine by just using Time Machine. Open a file in Time Machine in your documents folder. Open your documents folder in Time Machine and see if everything is there, and try opening the older version of a document, because you can always roll back to the latest, the most recent version if you want to. But you can always randomly sample, some of the older files and see what you get, just to make sure that your important stuff is getting taken care of. So, you may not need all of the preferences from, all of your applications to show up. Like, it can be easy to re-enter license information or something, for example. But it's very easy to end up with, all of this data that you're backing up over and over and over, and that backup gets corrupted, and now you're out of luck. So I do need to pause briefly and give Josh Dunlop props for his background. It's making me smile over here. It's one of my favorite movies. I used to tell people that you should watch it, and if it's a comedy, you're okay. And if it's a documentary about your job, you need to update your resume. So
thank you.
Please do. I feel like it's a very valid test. If Office Space is a documentary, you might have a problem. So let's see. Bob wants to know if Time Machine always deletes older backups, even if it's on a portion. If the other portion is for another Mac, what it will do is it will expand to the space available for that machine. So if you have a volume that's 100 gigabytes, it will use all of that 100 gigabytes until it's done. I know, but like for illustrative purposes. And then once it's at 100 gigabytes and needs to do another backup, it's going to drop the oldest backup. And you can see what that is in the Time Machine preferences. When you click on the drive, it will show you the date of the newest backup and the date of the oldest backup. So you can see how far back it goes. So maybe it only goes, like if you have a very small volume, it may only go back to January. But if you have a much larger volume where your Time Machine backups happen, then it may go back to last summer or, a year ago or more, depending on how much data how much data you have on your machine, how often it changes. It's very easy to make some of those things adjustable. And you can usually, now it's a lot easier to adjust those backups. If you're getting messages that it can't back up because it's full, you might need to look at resizing that volume, depending what it is, if it's full or whatever. Bob, I don't see you on my screen, but if you want to unmute, let's chat about this, because I definitely want. It sounds like your backup needs some help, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I have it on an external drive, and I back up the MacBook and the desktop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just a second. I'll call you back. That could never happen in a million years. But anyway, yeah, I get a message that it's full. Mm-hmm. And of course, if that's, let's say the desktop, the iMac, and the only thing I've ever done is then go ahead and reformat the whole darn drive. Mm-hmm. Of course, that wipes out the MacBook.
It does. Can you tell me the size of the drive that you're using for this?
I think it's. I have a new MacBook, but the old MacBook was 256 gig.
The external drive. How much is the external?
The external drive was a terabyte.
Okay. A terabyte isn't going to get you very far if your iMac has a 256 in it as well.
Okay.
You can get, somebody mentioned Costco earlier. Costco is selling, I don't know where I set mine. It was just here. Costco is selling Seagate hard drives, like little external hard drives. Mm-hmm. They're about, it's not this one, but they're about this size. And I have tiny little hands. So here, I'll hold it up. So here's my iPhone 12 Pro, and it's that big.
Okay.
And they're in the neighborhood of like $100, and it was 5 terabytes.
I got one here. It's on my camera. It's
there you go.
This is a Seagate.
How many terabyte?
This is a 5 terabyte.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's right in the neighborhood of $100. So I think the answer for you might be to just upgrade your storage and then split that in half.
Yeah, I have to do it anyway because the new Mac has got a 1 terabyte drive in it. So
Then yes.
So then the
absolutely
5 would be able to partition in half and then
Mm-hmm.
time machine for both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I might actually not 50/50 that drive because if
That's
your
my
Mac is
problem. I usually do it three ways, 2 time machines and then one where I want to save something also from something.
okay, you might look at a second drive and just have one that's time machine and then the one you split in half for like carbon copy cloner or something like that.
Okay.
Plug
Okay.
that in once a month, automate that, leave it overnight, Saturday night or something, let it hang out and let that one carbon copy clone each of your machines, like do it one night for one night for the other, and you've got it all sorted
Okay.
out on that drive. So a couple of those from Costco. George just put the link in the chat. George, what's the price on that one? Aha.
It is $124.99. I didn't type in my ID, but that's what price it's going to
Well, Jerry just pointed out it goes on sale for $90 on March 10th. So I think I know what y'all are doing next week.
Hey, that's a $25 savings.
It is. And like somehow $89 seems like a no-brainer purchase where like 120 is like, I better consider. So, and it's a solid drive. Like I said, I have one. And one of the nice things about it, they're fine for Big Sur. They're fine for as far forward or back in Mac OS as you are. And the only thing I would say about it is just to make sure that particularly if it's a drive that you're going to plug into everything regularly, right? Spring for the cable that's USB-C. If you have a USB-C port that you're plugging it into, just spring for the cable and don't use the adapter. Not because the adapters are bad or anything, but it's just easier if you just have the cable and you just plug the cable in and you're done. Particularly with this kind of with something like this where it's your hard drive and everything, you want to make sure that you're getting first of all, you want to make sure you're getting the speeds that you can get, and some of the USB-C cables are faster than the A cables. And also, as a tech support person, I'm here to tell you anything you can do to eliminate another point of failure along your operation is always going to be a plus. So I think when I set my mom up with this situation when she got her new MacBook a couple of years ago, I think that cable was about $10.
Okay.
I just went and bought one and sent it to her, and it was about a $10 purchase for the USB-C end instead of the square end that you used to plug into your old computer. The USB-C end and then the hard drive end on the other side. They're pretty easy to find, and it was like a $10 thing to upgrade that.
Okay, one quick question. Just
Yeah,
carbon,
please.
It would be with carbon copy cloner or super duper. Now that the Macs are solid state drives, they have to be formatted for the Apple file system.
Yes, APFS.
Yes. So that other drives, they always say don't take a hard drive and make it use the old one. Don't use the new file system on hard drives. You've got a hard drive. You want a carbon copy cloner the Mac, and it's a 2 terabyte spin disk hard drive. I formatted it. I maybe it's slower or something, but it seems to work. So it is okay to.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
And I found
that's
mine.
Very
so
good.
yeah, so here's mine. I found mine, and I can show you. It's this big. Again, I'll give you my 11 Pro for reference.
Sure.
So it's this tall.
Definitely something to shop for.
A little thicker, but yeah, absolutely. At $90, like 5 terabytes.
Yes.
So yeah. I've been in technology long enough. I told you I worked at a hard drive company. They sold a 1 gigabyte external hard drive, and people would go, "What are you gonna do with all that space?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been at this a while. But yeah, this is awesome. It's really light. You can, if you get the urge to, pack everything up in your backpack and go to the kitchen for a change of scenery, like you can drop this in your bag and hit the road. It's great. I've had mine long enough. I did take it places in the before times, and I've never had a problem with it for travel or anything. It's literally just got the one plug. So you don't
Okay.
need power for it or anything. This end is the hard drive end, and then the other end goes in your computer. It literally just takes the one cable. You don't have to worry about separate power supply or anything. It runs off the bus power, and it's super great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much,
You're
Kelly.
welcome, Bob. Thank you for asking. I'm glad.
Okay.
And yeah, it comes with a USB-A cable. You can get the C cable for it. Like I said, they're not that expensive, and they're very easy to find. If you have a Best Buy in your area, I got my mom's at Best Buy with curbside pickup. So that works pretty well. The other thing I want to do is like, now that we've got your backups under control, I'm going to just pretend everybody's got this all handled, because like you've got a checklist now of things you're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have everybody do this if you're on your Mac or can reach your Mac. Go to the Apple menu and choose About This Mac. And when you look at About This Mac, you should see some tabs across the top that say like Overview, Displays, Storage, Support Service. Click on Storage, and it'll show you how much stuff you have on your hard drive. If you have more than one hard drive connected to your Mac, like internally in your computer, it will show you all of them. Once you open that, it's probably going to spend a while, and it's going to say calculating, and it'll just be a gray bar for a while it's emotionally preparing to tell you how it's categorized all the stuff that's on your computer. And then once you get it filled in, and it'll be a little multicolor bar of some different stuff, and you can put the mouse on it, and it'll say, documents is so much size, and it'll say, this is so much size and that's so much size. All these things are different. And then over on the right-hand side of that window, it says Manage with 3 dots. And you can click on that, and it will pop open a new little thing for you that's part of system information. And you can look at system information, and it will sort of give you the lay of the land with regards to your hard drive. So it's going to show you recommendations it has for ways that you can free up space. The first one it's going to give you is store in iCloud. That's a personal decision. It's a thing I do not do and am never going to do, because I like to have more control over how everything syncs. And the way iCloud does it is just sort of magical, and they want to handle everything, and that doesn't work for me. It might work for you, and that's fine. But like I said, I've been in tech too long to just let some other technology go. It's cool. We can take care of it for you. And like, I don't believe they're Jedi hand wave over this. So it's not for me. But you can look at some of the other recommendations, and see what's there. You can optimize storage if you're a person who uses the Apple TV app on your computer a lot. That can take up a lot of space. And particularly if it's things that you own, or if it's things that you mostly watch on your TV anyway, you can delete them from here. You can, optimize that storage. You can turn on, delete everything in the trash every 30 days, things like that. And then you can click on the things down the side. There's applications, books, documents, iOS files. I see a bunch of stuff down here. The one that I recommend to most people is, if you're looking at it in the sidebar, you'll see music creation, and it'll have like 2.3, 2.4 gigabytes next to it. And if you click on that, it will show you that GarageBand has an entire sound library installed on your computer, just hanging out. Now, if you make music on your Mac, rock and roll. I'm super excited for you. I can't wait to hear I can't wait for your record to drop. But a lot of people, like, if you're using GarageBand on your computer. And so if I say GarageBand and you kind of make this like face, then go ahead and delete that. And magically you've got like 2.5 gigabytes of space instantly freed up on your computer. So if you're not using GarageBand, I've gotten everything from I used to, but I don't anymore, to what's GarageBand, and like every response in between when I've talked to people about this. So you can go in there, and it gives you a button, remove GarageBand library. So you can remove that immediately, and you've freed up 2 gigabytes on your computer instantly. Like I said, if not, please put if you're using your computer to record music, please put your Bandcamp link in the chat, and I will go listen to what you are making, and I will be super excited about it for you. Otherwise, like, you can look at other stuff, like, like, look at your trash. Maybe you have a bunch of stuff in the trash that doesn't need to be there anymore. Maybe you are one of the people who continues to get video, like multiple minute long videos in messages from somebody of like what the grandkids are doing or what the kids are doing or whatever. And if you have all of those, but maybe you don't care about them anymore, like you can either save them out, and put them in your own file storage so that you've got them and get them out of messages. Or if you get these videos from people, and like, oh, that was a funny thing that cat did that time, but I don't need it anymore. You can start cleaning up that stuff out of messages, and that'll save a lot of space too. One more time to get there, if you go to the Apple menu and choose About This Mac, it'll show you your operating system and your serial number and everything. And then click on the storage tab across the top of that window. And then once that window opens up and shows you your hard drive, you can click on Manage in the right-hand side. And when you click on Manage, it'll show you some recommendations. And one of the things in the sidebar of that window is music creation. And you can look there and you can toss that if you're not using it. So there you go.
Very, very helpful.
Did I just save everybody 2 gig right there?
You just actually saved me about 100 gig. I literally,
oh my gosh.
I have a Mac Mini. Right, I'm sitting up here looking like, why is this drive half full? And I just got this computer like 2 or 3 months ago. I don't know how it happened, but my virtual machines from VMware, which won't even run on this machine, are sitting up here taking like oodles of space. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Particularly,
you'd only normally look at your storage space if you're starting to run out of space.
Right.
And this is one of those things. It's like, because you brought it up, and now I'm going to actually set a reoccurring reminder to like every month or every 2 or 3 months to actually check this out.
It's a really nice, like the recommendations are handy. There are a number of other ways to do this. There's a free app called Omni Disk Sweeper from the Omni Group. You can get that from them, and it will basically give you a text listing of, here's your hard drive sorted by the files that take up the most space. So here's the folder that takes up the most space, and then it works its way down the list. And you can click on that folder, and then it'll show you in that folder, here's the folders that take up the most space. And then you can click through and find that, that 2 gigabyte installer that you downloaded a year and a half ago that you don't need anymore. And, maybe you put it on your new external hard drive because you'd like to save it, but you don't need to be carrying it around on your computer anymore. So you can stick it on your hard drive and then move on with your day. Or maybe you get rid of it. Like downloads is a really good place to also reclaim space, aside from like looking through the storage space. Like my downloads folder would appall any regular person.
Oh,
like,
I'm right there with you,
no
Kelly. Mine is even worse, if not worse.
Okay, I'll join the bandwagon too. So
like I migrated, from a previous time machine back up to this machine. So like my downloads folder is older than, like, predates my computer. That's how old. I got my new computer in December, so that part's not too terrible. But it's very easy to do and just sort of go, hey, my downloads folder's there. It's fine. But it's a good place to go look through and see. And part of that is because it's kind of, out of sight, out of mind. That makes a difference too. And sort of, like, it seems like with iOS 14, the downloads folder on iOS is app library. So if you keep removing things from your home screen and say, yeah, just leave it in the app library, like your phone's full and you can't figure out why. And it's because, you have one page of apps on your home screen, but your app library goes on and on and on and on and on, like a CVS receipt. So you can have a lot of stuff on your phone that you may not necessarily know about. And that's another way that you can reclaim space there, is to go through the app library and look at what's in there. Cause like Apple takes care of all that for you and they handle all those things. And you can look in there and go, oh, that app that was free that I launched once and like thought was going to be a fun match 3 game that turned out not to be as fun as I thought it would be, chuck it. And there's a managed storage on iOS as well. If you go to, and I'm going to do it right here live on the live tech demo, everybody. If you go to settings and you go to general, and then let's see, where is it? If you go to general, near the top, you'll see a line for iPhone storage, or if you're on your iPad, it'll say iPad storage. And then it'll show you the same sort of colored bar that you saw on your Mac with the about screen. And then it will give you the options of managing storage, because it'll just sort of show you like, here's the apps that you have and here's how much space they take up. Let me tilt that a little bit so you can see better. So it'll show you, here's how much space, like here are the prime offenders on your phone. And then you can go in there and you can look at it, and like Overcast, it shows me the app is not taking up a lot of space. It's all the stuff I downloaded in the app that's taking up all the space. And specifically because it's Overcast, let me tell you how much space podcasts can take up on your phone, on your Mac, on your iPad, wherever it is you listen to them. And as a person who makes a fair number of those, I'm here to tell you, unless it's something really notable, maybe you don't need to keep it. It'll be available to stream. You can set your podcatcher, whatever it is, whether it's the one from Apple, if you use Overcast, if you use Castro, if you use some app that I'm not even thinking of right now, whichever one you want to use, you can set it so that it shows you things that are unplayed, but then when you go to play it, it will just stream it over the Wi-Fi for you, and it doesn't have to be a downloaded file. Now, that may not work for everybody, so just know, like, if you set it for streaming only and maybe you're in a place where you don't have Wi-Fi and your reception is junk, or you generally listen in a place where you don't have network connectivity, you may want to download the latest. But then once you've downloaded the latest one, have it clear out the ones that are older. Like, only keep the most recent episode or the most recent two. But taking 5-10 minutes and going into your podcast app and figuring out what those look like is going to be really, really great. And it's going to save you a ton of space on your phone.
Right. You bring up a very valid point, because I used to listen to podcasts on my way to and from work. Of course, I have not gone to work in over a year. And I was just sitting up here thinking, okay, why are you downloading this stuff to your phone when you're sitting right here at home where you could stream it now? Yeah. And because I was just looking, and my podcasts are actually taking up 20 gigs of space on my phone. So
yeah, and it's easy to do that. You set it up to download them because you drive through that weird cell service hole to and from work when that was a thing, and that's not a thing now. So and that's the other reason it's nice to go adjust those settings in your podcatcher, is because that makes it, maybe you've also noticed, like, one of the other things you can eliminate with that is like having to declare bankruptcy. Like, I have all these shows I haven't listened to because I don't have a commute anymore, and I feel like I'm drowning in unlistened to shows or whatever. Like, if you've only got the most recent 2 episodes of any of them, and like you haven't looked in a month, you've still got the most recent 2 episodes. Like, your podcatcher is managing that for you, and then you don't have to worry about it. Like, you subscribe to 5 feeds, you've got 10 episodes in there, and if you don't look at it for a month or 2 or 8, you've still got 2 episodes of each of the 5 shows that you're listening to, and that's that. So if you're a podcast listener, first of all, I'm probably on one of them at some point, so thank you for listening to me. But also, like, it makes it a lot easier to manage the space on your phone, because your phone will do something similar to your computer when it gets full. It'll start acting weird. You do something really basic that used to take less than a second, a fraction of a second, and now it takes forever. You have to reboot it all the time. Things aren't working like they should. You have to, like, swipe up all your apps like once or twice a day or something, just in order to get your phone to do kind of what it used to do when it was out of the box. And part of that can be because it's full. And, when your computer starts acting a little sketchy, sometimes it's just because your computer's out of space to do what it needs to do as well. So, I am comfortable with backing up. Am I comfortable with backing up photos and documents and deleting them on the hard drive in order to save space? Yes and no. There are photos that I like to have for something. Here's the picture of everyone. Here's the picture I have of the last time I went anywhere, and it's like a picture of me and a whole bunch of my family. I have that on my computer. I took it on my phone, so I have it on my phone, and then I have it on my computer as well. And so I have that one that I keep because it's one of my favorites. Other ones I'm happy to back up because I know my backups get backed up. and I put them on I have an external hard drive where the photo stuff all lives. So for the most part, that's where mine go. Joseph, the controls for setting up podcasts to only keep the last 2 versions depend on what you're using. So if you want to name names, we might be able to help you sort out which one it is that is working like that.
Might be Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, if it's Apple Podcasts, I don't remember what the setting is in that. A podcatcher for people, I realize I skipped way ahead there, but a podcatcher is just the app that you use to play your podcasts. And it got started as a catcher because it would go get them for you. And then you just open the app and your podcasts are sitting there. It's sort of like TiVo, but for podcasts. So it'll just go get them for you from all the channels you season pass. And then you when you look on your phone, you always have something to listen to. So that makes that helpful. Another thing that's good for spring cleaning is contacts. And part of the reason I say that is because contacts is a thing that that a lot of people don't think about and sort of migrate across phones, or maybe when you first got your first smartphone, because I know loads of people this happened to. You got your first smartphone, whatever it was, could have been Android, I won't judge. And the guy at the store transferred all your contacts from your flip phone to your smartphone. And so you don't have to have everybody in there now as DG home and DG cell, so that I've got David's contact in there, 2 or 3, and then DG works and I've got him in there like 4 times. You can merge all of those because in contacts on iOS and on your Mac, you can have 100 phone numbers for everybody, and you can have a bunch of addresses, and you can have the relationships of all those people, all that, and birthdays and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to have all of the each of those individual entries anymore. And one of the easy ways to do that is if you just go to iCloud.com in a web browser. You can do it on your Mac. If you like the contacts app on your Mac, you can do it there. If you want to make sure that you're changing it and that everyone's is sorted the way that you want it to be, you can go to iCloud.com, sign in with your Apple ID, and then you can click on contacts and you can go in there and just start sorting. And however you like to sort is up to you. I like to chunk off, because I go in and review them occasionally, and I like to go in and chunk off just a letter at a time. Like today I'm going to do A. I've done A. I'm good. There's only 10 people in B. I'm going to knock out B while I'm here. And then, whatever. And then just work your way through and get those all taken care of. And then you'll notice that your contacts can be a lot easier to use if you do that. Like I said, I've known a lot of people who have home, cell, work. And so, have people in contacts over and over and over again. And part of the reason that can be hard is because if you're trying to use your voice assistant, like the S lady is going to interrogate you every time, because if I say call DG on speaker, she's going to go, I have like 9 phone numbers for DG. Like, what? You need to be more specific. So this way I can just say, call David at home on speaker. And then, she calls David, and David goes, why are you calling me on my landline, Kelly? We're better friends than this. So that's like that, that also makes it easier for when you're using the voice assistant in your phone to do things. Or if you want to text somebody, you can have, there's like an iPhone label for the contact. So you can say, text David, what time am I speaking this morning? And then she'll be able to take care of that for you because she knows which one is the number that you text him at, and then she'll just handle it. So if you use the voice assistant a lot, whether you're talking to a HomePod or you're talking to your iPad or you're talking to your phone or your watch, you can, when you talk to her, it makes it easier to talk to her if you're using her a lot to do things. And if you're not, investigate it, because it's really handy and it's very convenient, particularly like if you're busy with something else and something, pops into your mind, like, oh, I have to tell somebody something, or I'm going to be doing this a while and I want to talk to somebody, I want to call my mom while I'm doing whatever I'm doing because I watched Days of Our Lives today and I know she wants to talk about it, whatever. Yeah, sorry, I just outed my mom as a Days of Our Lives fan. She's going to be super happy about that. So there's a lot of ways that you can make it easier to interact with the voice assistant as well. You'll notice I'm being very careful not to say her name so that she doesn't trigger for me or for you accidentally.
I definitely understand what you mean about that, because I noticed that I was scrolling through one day and I was like, I see dead people. in my contacts. And I was
Yes.
like, and I said to myself, and it's kind of one of those things, but there is a reason why I've left some deceased people I like when they actually come up on the calendar with their birthdays.
Yes.
So that way you don't forget them. However, I did
Yes.
actually move them into a different group.
Yes. And groups are a whole other thing, but groups make it really, really easy to sort out, friends, family, work. If you've got, a church or, user group, like, like you can kind of part people out into all the sort of containers, and it makes it just easier to track everybody.
Right,
I've been saying,
right, that's a whole nother workshop that we're going to, or a
yes.
whole nother, we're going to get to that subject matter down the line, because
Yes.
it is on our list of things to talk about. By the way, you have
Good.
about 10 minutes.
Okay. Davis, I hope you have a pen, because I want to make sure that gets written down. So I definitely like the easy cleanup of the one pass of just make sure that everybody's in there the way that they should be. And you can sort by first name or by last name if you want to, depending on what you're using. So, what you prefer. So you can put, you could put things in the right order so that you could make contacts work for you. And that one pass of cleanup, like maybe you added somebody to your phone, like maybe you have a doctor that you don't go to anymore and you don't need that information now. Save out like the name and the address in a text file so you have it for reference, but it's not like you're calling them, so you can take it out. Different things like that make it a lot easier to get sorted out. You may want to go through Apple Books or through the Kindle app and see if you have a load of stuff that's downloaded that like you read it, but you don't need it on your device anymore. Whether that's your iPhone or your iPad or your Kindle or your Mac. I don't think there's a Kindle app for Apple TV yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. You may want to go through and just clear out some of those because you still own them and they're still going to show up in your library as a thing that you bought, but you don't have to carry it around with you if it's not something that you're actively reading. It's very easy to free up some of that space as well, particularly with the Apple books, because a lot of them are multimedia. Like you can get books that have, the beautiful illustrations, or you can get some of the learning books like David Sparks, has the field guides and stuff. And the field guides have videos in them, and that's gigabytes of space. So like if you've done all you're going to do with that particular field guide, and you bought it, you don't have to carry it around with you. And then if you do want to put it back on later, you can. It's very easy. It's just a tap. Whether it's in books or in the Kindle app, you can maybe free up some space that way. So that's an easy one to do. I just had another one that I was going to talk about and I didn't write it down, and now I don't remember what it was. But yeah, it had to do with contacts. Think about it, Kelly. Make your pass through contacts, make sure that stuff is done. Passwords. That's what it was. Show of hands by putting your hand up in the camera. You don't have to use the Zoom raise hand app. How many people are using any password manager? It can be iCloud Keychain, it can be 1Password, it can be whatever. Okay, so look through there, and iCloud Keychain has started doing this now, where it will also show you if you use a password, it'll say like, you might want to change this because this has been part of a data breach, or it's a very weak password used. And so you can change those. So if you're using iCloud Keychain, you do that on your Mac. You can do it on iOS, but it's much easier on your computer. You can go into the utilities folder, go into the applications folder, and in utilities, there's an app called Keychain Access. And that's where you manage all of the passwords, the usernames and the passwords for everything on your computer. If you have a network device, it will manage the network devices options. If you have all of the Wi-Fi passwords we talked about before that don't get backed up, those are all stored in iCloud Keychain. Passwords for apps, apps that you use on your computer, the account that you use to sign in to that thing. Like if you're using it to save web passwords on the web, all of those show up in there as well. When you save the password for connecting to a network device or something, those as well. So those are all things that you want to consider as well. And so definitely a password review. You don't always have to rotate them unless it specifically says this was part of a data breach. You definitely want to change those. But otherwise, like there's always been this advice about rotating your passwords all the time for various reasons. And you can do that, but for the most part, you don't really have to. So like the thing that you want to do is when you see that alert for whatever that is, go to that site, go to that app, go to that wherever that password came from, go to the source of that password where you have your account information, and go there and change it through the website or through the app, you know, the settings in the app, whatever it is. Go to that place and change it. And your password manager should go, I have a password for that already. Do you want to update it to the one that you just typed in? And then that's the easiest way to manage it. So just go fill them in, and it'll be pretty straightforward.
I have a
Yes, Frank.
question, Kelly. The passwords in Safari that are automatically logged all the time when you when you say, sure, put that I will never remember what it was password in there. And it logs it theoretically. Now, my question is, I use 1Password. Okay. And is there a way to take what Safari has? Because 1Password doesn't have everything Safari has, and Safari doesn't have everything 1Password has. Is there a way to migrate the passwords in Safari to 1Password?
Well, I know that you used to have to go. First of all, those Safari passwords. Those Safari passwords are all handled in iCloud Keychain, or not in iCloud Keychain. They become iCloud Keychain and Keychain Access, the app I just told you about. That works. That's where those are all managed too. All of those, like when Safari says, "Do you want to save this?" That's where they go. So you can manage them there. You can. I'm trying to think what the easy way was to do it. I feel like 1Password probably has some tips on this, as opposed to just.
Yes, you're actually right, because I actually Googled how to import passwords from Keychain to 1Password, and several different things came up. And the first thing is actually a support article from 1Password itself.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they do have a way to do that then. And then 1Password, I don't know as much about Dashlane or LastPass, but I know 1Password has the Watchtower feature. And so it'll show you, these have been seen in a data breach. These are reused. You actually put password as the password on this one. Please go change it. You know, all that kind of stuff. They show you, and they show you like, here's the data breach ones, here's this, here's that. And they give you opportunities to up that security as well. So they have like, you can use 2-factor on this site. Do you want to? And and I think it's learn more or more info. And if you click on that, it'll take you to the page on that site where it says, here's how you enable the 2-factor and here's what you do. And then 1Password can handle that for you, which is really nice.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Frank. Those are the big things that I had. So we can have more question time. And if I may start, I would like to ask Susan what she's got on her needles right now.
Let me unmute. I'm knitting a double-sided, what they call double knitting cap.
Ooh.
It's the same on, it's the reverse on one side. Let's see if I can get it up on my camera.
Hold it in front of you. There we go.
On one side.
Nice.
And then the other side is exactly the reverse in color.
Yeah.
But it goes very, very slowly because you're essentially knitting.
Because it's double knitting.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm too intimidated by color work to try anything like that.
And it goes incredibly slowly. It's a small cap, but it takes me an hour to do one row.
Yeah, that's.
Of course, I'm not a fast knitter anyway, but okay.
I'm not either, but yeah, but it looks amazing. And I caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I need to know what she's working on down there. So I just wanted to ask. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Susan, also. Well, Kelly, you have given us a lot of things to actually go through and clean up. Unfortunately, today's a nice day in Chicago, so I don't know if we're all. Oh,
please go outside. Yeah,
that's
wait till it rains.
38, it's 39 degrees, so we may actually sit
So
inside and do some of the
Go
cleaning
sit
up.
in front of a sunny window and admire the sun outside, and know that it's a degree outside, and you will regret it if you go out. So
Exactly. Just want to thank you again for all the different tips. Yes, you saved me several gigs of space. Definitely appreciate everything. And of course, everybody, you can replay it. Actually bring up that for those of you who are watching this as a recording, see, if you would have been here live, you could ask your question live with us. You can actually join us by actually going online to scau.org if you're not a current member. So that way you can sign up and you'll get the link and you can be here live and join us and ask questions live. For those of you who are here, don't forget, there will be a survey sent out after this meeting. Also, we have coming up our photography SIG on 17th. That's St. Patrick's Day. Also, our next main meeting will be on 20th. So it'll be March 20th. So, but by the way, also, don't forget we have our Afterglow coming up. Please, by all means, please fill out the survey so that way we know what we can prepare for you in the coming future. I want to thank everyone who actually attended and the questions that you asked, everyone. And my name is George Brooks, representing the Board of Directors, and have everyone have a good Mac Apple day.